Hey everyone, how's it going, and welcome back to ROBOTBOY. And in this video I'm going to be doing a breakdown of my Far Cry 5 original story, Too Far Gone, which was split into two parts. Now I just wanted to show everyone the map, how I made it and run through the level, because a lot of people were asking, like, did you do everything, did you make everything? And the answer is yes. Obviously I didn't model everything, but every single thing was placed exactly where I want it to be, including the ground textures, the grass, the buildings, the enemies, the sky, the color of everything. So if you're following along with the story, if you can kind of remember it in your head, this is originally where you land. I even put a couple of decals on the floor there just to make it look more like a path. And then you come into this massive field, which this was kind of the original idea, was having this destroyed barn in the middle of a field, very much The Walking Dead inspired. And I was like, how can I turn this into a story? And it just kind of evolved from there. So I was like, okay, let's have some toxic gas leaking everywhere, some boxes, allude to the fact that there's a bigger story here, there were people living here before. You've got one zombie here. I wanted to introduce the one zombie just to sort of tease the threat, tease the bigger threat that could appear. And yeah, just to show you some of the vegetation stuff here. Yeah, this was like all plain, and the ground texture was just plain, and so I had to add the grass in and everything. That's just an example of one way that I was putting everything into the level. So even the smoke, everything like that was placed. I decided to make this train track here, even though trains had to be put together with the wheels and everything, and I folded that one over on the ground just to cover up the fact that there's a really crappy tunnel sitting under these tracks. And I was like, okay, let's go into a sort of burned forest, again leading away, just to make a bit of a visual difference between it being just plain forest. I was like, let's have this bit burned, have some zombie wolves in there, because why not, and let's fight them. And then again, I didn't want everything to be the same, so I was like, if we're going to go into the city, there's going to be a destroyed building there. I want to go through there, down this alleyway, again introducing you to the concept of this is a city. We're now in a different area to before. Conveniently placed SWAT guy with a machine gun there. If I just pull out and show you the entire city, so I kind of went for this staggered look with the buildings to hide the fact that the edge of the map is right there, and it kind of shields the border. And then you can actually see the end of the level is right on the other side of that bit there, and the whole level was designed in a sort of spiral, and you'll see that with the other mission with part 2 as well. It's a spiral. Then we move here. I designed this outpost looking area with a cage. Again, lots of things that... Oh, okay. There's supposed to be a guy there. I don't know where he's gone. That's the guy that gives you... gave me the mission. But yeah, again, lots of things here representative of a expanded world and story, stuff that happened before. I wanted to kind of lore, I guess, to this world that I was building. And then here you have this outpost with the military there. Designed to be a sort of standard, here you are, this is a bit of a fighting level, lots of cover, lots of different platforms to climb onto, a heavy machine gun, a guy in the tower there as a sniper. So that was that sort of combat area. There's zombie here for the jump scare, and one van that actually works out of all the ones that are just destroyed. And you saw I got in that, drove down this little street bit here, just those cars there to maneuver, so it's not just one boring straight line. Come through here, and what do you know, it's blocked off by another barricade. And actually the road doesn't go anywhere, you'll just see it goes to nothing, but I don't think you see that in the actual video. From this sort of angle here, it kind of looks like it just goes off into the trees, I guess. I don't know, I'm hoping not many people paid attention to that. And then yeah, just some nicely placed bodies, I guess, and then decals on the floor for the blood. And the destructible wall here, because I wanted to just, I don't know, blow something up in this level, and they added in these destructible walls, and I was like, let's put some explosives there, make it easier, just in case the one explosive didn't work properly, just put those there, just to, you know, make sure it did the job. And then we come through here. Now this is the trigger event, something else they added in to help spice up the levels, so you could change stuff on the move just by moving through these boxes. And what happened here was you go through and basically it sets the fog to be a bit more foggy, and most importantly changed the time of day to be nighttime. And that was the transition period here to show that this is the sort of third and final stage of the mission. Again, another destructible barrier there, and a surprise zombie there that was supposed to kind of crash into the bonnet of the car, but I think you don't see that in the mission, but oh well. Anyway, design this rough level, chuck loads of assets in there. These clay mat guys here are representative of the zombies. The canisters are supposed to spawn continuously, but honestly, the zombie spawners didn't work properly. I've tried every way I can, and they don't spawn. They were supposed to spawn unlimited waves of zombies when I entered from all 3 of these canisters, and they didn't. And it's a kind of known issue, and I kind of hope they figure that out soon. And in part 2 as well, that the same thing happened. They were supposed to be spawning unlimited waves, and nothing happened. Anyway, destroy the generators, climb up onto there. I put a helicopter on top as well for, I don't know, just for reasons. And you'll notice the start bit is actually there. So I start off there and I end there. Again, that sort of spiral thing I was talking about, to make the most of the space in this mission in the arcade editor. And then you come back and I was like, okay, how do I use the city again? So I was like, let's split off here and go round the back of that bit that the original bit in the city was in. You go round there, and I maybe could have done a bit more decoration here. It's a bit plain, it's a bit sort of last minute. And then you go down this alleyway, and then here is when the reveal of, okay, here are the lights. And at this point, the trigger has made it nighttime, so those lights really stand out. And then yeah, you're in the back of that bit there, and hopefully you didn't clock where I was, and that I wasn't just in the same place as earlier on. And I was like, let's put that decal there, put that flag up to make it really obvious that something dodgy is going on here, just to signify that this is the end of the level. So I guess that's it for part 1. I'm going to go into part 2 now. Yeah, just so you can have a look. There's so much detail. I've tried to put in these graffiti on the wall, little shelves, racks, just bodies on the floor, vehicles, barricades, fences. Everything you see on this map, I added in. When you start off in Far Cry 5 Arcade, it's completely blank. Changing the fog and everything as well. This is what it's like with no fog, so it's a bit weird. Anyway, part 2. So it's the same map. I took the same map because I wanted to obviously start in the city. That's where we end up, but I wanted to shift it around so that we ended up going somewhere a bit different. So this bit is pretty much the same. I've removed the fog here for this bit just so you can really see the full depth of the level. Stripped out some of the bits here to make more memory, to make use of more memory, because I was kind of peeking a bit, and there were some buildings that you didn't see in the city in this bit because of the fog and that it was nighttime. So I was like, let's take it out. I don't know why this road is now a dirt road. Something went weird there. These zombies I put in, and they're supposed to, when you spawn, they run to the bit to try and basically, again, the AI in this is so weird. It doesn't spawn. So the way I did it was, I wanted the zombies to be on my path here as I was running back to the barn, but I didn't want them to just be standing there waiting for me. I wanted it to look like they were chasing me. So I actually told them to run to the barn from the city through these trees, so it looked like they were chasing me. I put these flashy lights here, I don't know, just to suggest that the orange color of the zombies, they were coming out from the trees. That was supposed to be the idea of it. And you run back through this bit that the mission started with, out into the field, through the train tracks. And here we are. We have some zombies waiting here. And that canister in the barn was supposed to be spawning unlimited waves of zombies, but it didn't. Again, it didn't. So my best way to get around it was just put a load of zombies here, static and waiting for me, and mix it with those zombies running from the city back to me, so it looked like they were kind of coming from all directions, and it was kind of the best I could do with the limitations of the editor. Anyway, here we go through the barn. Yeah, so the zombie spawner didn't work. There was one that spawned in the mission. If you saw it, one spawned out the ground here, and that was it. And I was like, oh man, this sucks. But hopefully, you know, I think it still played okay. You did get the idea that there were zombies everywhere. I left the car here, because that's where I left it in part 1. You get in the car, and off you go down the road. So from here, this is where I had to start changing the level. So these zombies, I don't know why I put them there, because they end up here. But anyway, yeah, and the idea being, I kind of knew if I just kept driving forwards, I'd smash into them, hit one of these trees, and get out and go through this whole plane crash bit. Originally that was supposed to be a lake here that the plane was crashed into, but the water was kind of a bit annoying, causing havoc with the zombies. I don't know why I didn't just remove the water altogether from this level. You don't see it at all. And then the plane crashes here with a bit of burned texture around it, just to give the impression that it's been on fire for a bit and it's burned the grass. This bloody path that, not like bloody as in swear word, but there's blood on the path, leads you to this outpost, this car that's kind of floating in the sky that lands on the floor when the mission starts. And I was like, okay, we need a new weapon here just to spice it up a bit, some ammo, and then that will take us through into the mill, which is another kind of story beat here. Give the impression that there's a larger community that my character is part of, and again, a bigger story. There was a story before this story here. There's a character, there's a world, and yeah, you can see again the spiral thing. It goes from the outside and finishes in the middle. But hopefully when you're watching it, you don't get the impression that I'm in the same space. It kind of looks like I'm moving progressively through a linear level rather than looping around in a circle. Anyway, this is Jimmy's place. I called him Jimmy. This was supposed to be Jimmy, but he's actually there in the mission. I just don't show you him. I thought that was a better idea of having Jimmy as the guy that's dead there, and you're like, oh shit, the house is on fire. Jimmy's dead. I didn't understand why Jimmy would be on the floor and then that guy stabbed, so I was like, let's have Jimmy there. Anyway, a trigger option here that sets off an explosion at the house. Everything's already on fire. There was no way to simulate all of that, so I was like, that explosion is going to go off when you go through that trigger. I put a explosion in afterwards in the editing software that wasn't actually part of the game, again just to fake it as if, oh no, the house is just blown up. And then you've got poor Kate here, oh Kate and Billy, and so okay, I put Billy in, and I was like, when I was watching the mission back, I was like, that's not Billy, that's like a whole family there. So I had to change the dialogue to be like, oh, you were looking after Kate and Billy and this other family, just so that bit kind of made sense there at the end. And then you go back and you can just see how weird it gets if you don't, the bits I don't show in the actual mission, you just see how weird the level looks. And thankfully for the fog and the nighttime, the time of day hiding everything. Here I wanted this just to be an empty bit of road. This wasn't actually supposed to be the end of the level. The level was supposed to end at the house, and he turns around and just kind of cries, and I was like, nah, I kind of want to lead something else there. So I was like, if I get out of the car there, walk through that trigger, it will set off this light, and then who knows, I don't actually know what the next bit's going to be, in all honesty. As I say, this was kind of supposed to be a two-parter. It took a lot of time to do this, as you can probably tell, and maybe a part 3 will come when I have more time later down the line. But I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. There was obviously another part 2 of the level, which was like an interior of a warehouse, but I don't want this video to go on much longer. So I hope this was enjoyable. I hope for those interested in the mission, you appreciated this video as well, seeing everything that went into designing the level. Ubisoft, if you're watching, I'm available for hire if you want me to come work for you, if you like the level design here, like the ideas that I had. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed watching it, and as always, please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you're feeling super generous, please do head over to my Patreon, and the link to that is in the description below. And with that, I'll see you all in the next video.